Show with Derek Pearson or Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome into the Daily Nebraskan show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. I'm Ben Droz, one of the sports writers at the Daily Nebraskan, UNL's only independent student newspaper.
Yes, sir.
And to my left is Joseph Meyer, the senior sports editor at the Daily Nebraskan. Joseph, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. It's been a very cold day here in Lincoln. I was kind of disappointed that we got a taste of spring, and all of a sudden it hit the 20s with the wind chill today. Not fun. The wind was not great walking back from class today.
I mean, it wasn't even as much that it was like cold. It was just the wind.
The wind was terrible.
The wind was just bad. Like if there would have been like almost no wind, it would have been beautiful.
And it's like if it was early January and it was like this, it'd be like, all right, it's early January. I'm getting in the mood for March, like I said last week.
Yeah.
I'm getting in the mood for tropical vacations, not walks through down O Street where I literally have to walk backwards or I will fall over.
Wait, it was that bad, like downtown?
It was really bad.
I know there's like wind tunnels.
The wind tunnels, like by the Haymarket, were horrible. So
man, I'm glad I didn't go over there. I was just like on campus. So
yeah. Speaking of stuff that happened today, did you see what Max Strus did tonight?
Yeah, the game winner.
Oh my goodness, 5 threes in the last 3.5 minutes, and that game winner from like what they said 67 feet out.
Yeah,
that was awesome. That was the. And we're going to get into college basketball and what storming the court means for college fans. But that environment felt like a little bit of a college crowd there. You don't get that kind of energy in an NBA game often.
No, it has to be like a game-winning play like that. And, so I'm a Heat fan, and Max Strus played for the Heat last year. So kind of sad to see that he's doing it for the Cavaliers. But, it is what it is.
Yeah. Is there anyone else? Anyone else in the
world
world that's played for the Heat, gone on to have success in the Cavs? I can't really think of anyone else.
Nobody.
Any like big name stars? Maybe like the second greatest player of all time.
I would agree with that. And yes, there is a name that comes to mind. we don't have to.
Max Strus and that other guy. I forget his other name, but those two Heat Cavalier legends now.
Heat. Max Strus is a legend now.
Another interesting piece of information we got tonight: Wisconsin lost to Indiana.
Yeah.
So Nebraska's in great position.
Yeah.
Great position now.
I think Nebraska's pretty much a tournament lock.
You move into a tie for 4th place with only 3 games remaining. And it's hard to imagine a world where Wisconsin doesn't lose at least one more. They still have Purdue and Illinois. And they've been playing terribly over the last month. They have fallen off the wagon.
There's just I just don't see a world where Nebraska doesn't get in. Like, I mean, if Nebraska loses all the rest of their games, gets bounced first round of the Big Ten tournament, like I still feel like they would even be in the bubble discussion.
Lose all 3 would be tough. A loss to Rutgers would be really tough at home.
I still think they'd be on the bubble watch. That's what I'm saying. That's worst case scenario.
It's just such a fun team. You have to put them in, right? The narrative of like the first Nebraska team to do it. You got to put them in. This is the year.
I mean, I think like Nebraska just has to, like, there's no way they're not losing the next 3.
No,
like, they're just not.
You're not losing to Rutgers at home. You're not losing to Rutgers at home on senior night. Tominaga's last game at PBA. You're not losing to Rutgers.
And you're not losing to Michigan.
And you're not losing to Michigan, where Juwan Howard is
basically checked out.
The team is done.
Yeah.
So I think those 2 games are pretty much locks. This Ohio State game, sneaky quad 1 game, surprisingly, because of what they've done over the last couple weeks since firing their coach. So, but yeah, I will say this again. If Nebraska had a green Spartan on their logo, as their logo, they would be a 6 seed right now. It is insane.
I don't think you're wrong.
How much better Nebraska's resume is than Michigan State's at this point. Michigan State falls again at home. They've lost to Iowa and Ohio State at home.
Nebraska
and they're
would
still
never.
23 in the net, I believe.
Yeah.
With 11 losses. So
it is. It's because they have Tom Izzo as their head coach. And it's Michigan State.
And you can't count them out, which is fair.
So, I mean, I do think they're a tournament team. But
I think they will be.
It's still like, I don't think they're better than Nebraska.
No, I don't.
I mean, right now.
Absolutely not.
They probably do better than
I don't think
tournament.
Wisconsin's better than Nebraska right now.
Yeah.
Wisconsin has fallen off since they lost in Lincoln.
I don't know. If Nebraska would have to travel to Wisconsin, they'd probably lose.
Well, good thing they won't have to. Big Ten tournament. There's a world where they face Wisconsin in the first round of the Big Ten, or their first game of the Big Ten tournament.
That's crazy.
Which would not be ideal, but I think you get double bye in the Big Ten tournament. You have to be in the NCAA tournament.
I think Nebraska's as close to a lock in the tournament as they could possibly be.
So there's been a lot of discussion around national media this week about court storms.
I don't understand it, but.
And so I figured, since here at Nebraska, we're kind of experts on the matter at this point. We 3-1 season, Ben?
Nebraska fans are pretty much experts at this point.
They're a little spoiled this season. 3-1 season.
Yeah, they're spoiled.
You beat Purdue, you beat Wisconsin, and you beat Iowa. You beat two of the biggest stars in all of college basketball, and Caitlin Clark and Zach Edey and Chucky Hepburn, who is the not necessarily prodigal son come home, but a spurned Nebraska recruit come home.
Yep.
You beat all three of them on your home floor, and you storm the court.
Yeah.
So some people are not a big fan of the whole court storming idea.
I don't get it.
There has been debate ever since Kyle Filipowski got hurt when Wake Forest rushed the floor after beating Duke. Been a lot of discussion about should court storms be banned.
So you're more likely to get hurt in the game than on a court storm.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so a player could tear their Achilles walking out of the gym. Like I don't understand. Like I understand that there is a little bit more risk, I guess, for injury when there's a bunch of fans storming, but like it just doesn't happen anywhere nearly enough for this to even be a discussion, in my opinion. Like you would take so much of the fun out of college basketball if you don't allow fans to storm the court. Like it's just crazy to me. Like I'm just saying, when we're walking down the street in Lincoln, we could get hit by a car. This is just how life is. Sometimes to have some fun, you have to take a little bit of risk.
Okay. Yeah.
To have fun, you have to take a little bit of risk. And this is the most fun part.
It's about what makes college basketball college basketball.
This is why college basketball, when you get to March, is more fun than NBA playoffs.
The energy's just there.
Yes.
And it's because of those students who are rowdy and they want to get on that court and they want to dance.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. Now, Wake Forest didn't have the best security protocols. There is definitely improvements to be made for their end of things.
Yes.
But the way Nebraska did it, completely safe, in my opinion. I mean, Matt Painter, Purdue coach, was frustrated after that game. I think probably frustrated because you just lost to Nebraska.
And it's like,
and you're the number one team. Right. But he said, we got to do something about court storms, guys. I just don't know why institutions aren't ready for it. Like, what did you think was going to happen if they won? Spread the word before someone gets hurt. So someone did get hurt. Filipowski got hurt. But the difference between Wake Forest's court storm and Nebraska's was Nebraska filed on single file line onto the court because of how the security had set up and made them come in at certain angles. Wake Forest was a all-out stampede onto the court. They were on the court before the clock was at 0. So that's got to be fixed. I'll admit to that.
Yeah.
But there's this whole rhetoric this week of like arrest people who storm the court, fine the schools millions of dollars, detain people, have security completely blocking it off. It's like, no, that is what makes it so fun. You know why Nebraska got all that national buzz after beating Purdue and Wisconsin? Because the visual of students storming the court, dancing, having fun is great for social media. It's great for television. It's a great storyline. And without that, it's like, cool, we beat the number 1 team in the country. Let's slowly file up the exit rows and leave past the concessions.
It's not practical.
No.
It's not practical. Like, even so, if Nebraska in football, we're going to play what if when Scott Frost is here and Nebraska almost beat Michigan. Okay. If Nebraska would have beat Michigan, they were gonna storm the field. And
so
and weren't they saying that they like not wanting them to storm the field or whatever?
So I'm not exactly, since I'm a transplant, I'm not fully in with the Nebraska culture, but I've heard from some people who are very connected with the program that it's one of those things like, oh, we're Nebraska, we don't storm the field. Because they had it in the past. There was actually a few times that they did, but it was more of that thing. It's like, oh, we're Duke, we're Alabama, we're Kentucky.
What are they talking about?
We don't storm the field.
Okay. No. You don't just get to go past that. Whoever is saying that, what?
But
have you seen Nebraska's
the whole thing.
Track record in the past 10, 15, 20 years?
Exactly. So
25
so for
years.
us, it's like, why would we not? Now, there is a little bit of a logistics problem for football.
That is true.
Because the South student section is a 20-foot drop down to the field.
Well, yeah. They
would have to file up down the ramps, down east side, and then storm, which
they would do it.
I think they would do it. But
and even
after spending some time in South student section, I don't know. There's some people in there that aren't very coordinated at certain times during that game.
If Nebraska would have beat Michigan, there was just, even if security went saying no, they weren't going to stop that. I'm just saying.
You're not stopping, especially for football, you're not stopping it. Basketball is a little easier to stop because there's more area. You can put a security patrol around the entire court, but still, it's like, you can't stop thousands of students wanting to get on the floor.
Most of the time, the court storming is coming. Like, if it's like a last second game winner,
then it's like, okay, that makes sense. But even then, the students weren't prepared to storm the court right away anyway, so it takes a little second. The opposing players can get off. Duke knew they were going to lose this game. They were down by 4 with 2 seconds left. Why are you walking off the floor? You see the students lined up on the baseline, ready to sprint like they're going to run sprints up and down the floor. You know that's coming. You cannot walk off the floor slowly. I understand that it's frustrating for Duke because it's like, we had no say over what happened there because that's all in Wake Forest. And I get that. And there has to be better security measures for that specific instance. But I went back and looked. I don't know if you remember this. Duke had a field storming moment this past football season.
Yeah.
When they beat Clemson. Duke is not a historic powerhouse in football. In case you were wondering, they don't have that same elitist mindset of like, we're Duke, we don't storm. This is below us. So they do it in football.
That's still crazy.
Watch what the Clemson players did. They didn't slowly walk off the field. They got out of there quickly. They knew it was over.
They were prepared.
It was a kneel down. And I get football is they got a little more time because it's a bigger field. And then it just, you gotta get off the floor, at least get to the sideline. And then people are bringing up the whole Caitlin Clark thing from a month ago.
She ran into the fan.
That was not a court storm. That was a court drizzle.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it was women's basketball. Usually those court stormings aren't as big.
There's just not as many students there.
Yeah.
Like same with Nebraska's. So there was no reason to get off the floor in time there.
That was not like a stampede of students that ran Caitlin Clark over. It was her and the fan just not paying attention, and she just ran into them. And so she was fine.
That sucks. I'm so sorry that happened, that you got hurt, and it sucks for Filipowski here, like to get hurt on that when he can't really control it.
I understand.
Fans are lining up at the baseline. You have to know you get off of there quickly.
Yeah,
and don't slowly take long strides to trip the 5'3" computer science major kid that's just trying to have the time of his life.
When you go to church and there's 3 minutes left, what are you doing? You're making a plan of where you're gonna go to leave the church. You're not like, oh man, I disliked it. I'm just gonna bask in these last 2 minutes. I mean, I'm sorry, but like, even if like,
or even like
if
you're
enjoying, that's what I'm saying. Like, even if you're enjoying what's going on, like you in the back of your mind, I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen when this is over? Like it's just
when you attend a football
it's
game,
human nature.
It's like, all right, we're not going to lose this game. We're up 20 points with 10 seconds to go. I could sit here and watch the final buzzer, or I could get a quick exit and get to my parking lot before the other 15,000 people.
It's just like I don't know.
But I think Nebraska's done an incredible job this season. Security kind of holds the students back until it's reasonable. The opposing players have time to get off the court, but they still pack the floor. Like,
I understand there should be more safety stuff at certain schools, but like the fact that people are even wanting to just get rid of it,
arrest students.
I feel like
come on.
I feel like the only people saying that are the players that are getting like the teams that are losing and getting stormed
and people that haven't been students in 45 years.
Yeah,
like from the student perspective, because that's what we're here to provide, Ben.
That's true.
It's fun to hear about all the story. Like I wasn't part of it because I was covering the game. It's fun to hear about all the stories of your friends getting, not trampled, but getting in a mosh pit in the middle of the floor.
Imagine if
dapping up Casey Tominaga in the middle of the floor.
Imagine if imagine if Nebraska beat Purdue this season, which they did, and they would have been like, all right.
Oh, that was fun.
All right, that was fun. Woo! All right. I'm gonna try to be the first one out of the arena. Like what?
Yeah, and actually,
it's just not realistic.
I thought it was a little slow for me.
It honestly was.
It was a little slow because there was like a bottleneck right by the benches.
Where the student section is, they kind of have to like.
It's a little tough because there's the gate in front of the student section behind the basket, and there's that giant walkway between the student section. It's not a college basketball arena. It is a concert venue and a almost NBA-sized college basketball arena. It's awesome because it's huge, but you're not right on the action. So there's a little bit of time for the players to get off. So it was a little slow for me, to be honest. I love the Wake Forest one. Like, it was like instantly, floor is flooded. And if Filipowski doesn't get hurt there, that is the narrative of like, Wake Forest just knocked off Duke. I don't want to sound like a Duke hater here. I just don't think this is the same. I think this is a non-starter if it's not a Duke player. If it's like, especially a very well-known Duke player. Like if this was Houston and a Houston like
player,
a bench player, or like a power forward that averages 6 points a game got hurt, it'd be like, oh, that's unfortunate. But it's like Duke, very big fan base, very vocal, and it's Filipowski, one of their better-known players. So that helps the narrative. I just think it's crazy for these 60-year-old guys on ESPN or whatever platform. Let's ban it. Let's arrest students. That's crazy. You are in college for 4 years. 4 years you get in college. You know how many court storms we had seen up to this season? Absolutely none.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen many wins at PBA in general. You get 3 this season. The amount of students who are going to hold on to that memory for the rest of their lifetime and it just want to take that away because of the possible injury, which I recognize that you need the safety measures. But if done correctly, like we saw Nebraska do it, it's well done. I was looking back at some of my favorite court storms over the years, and I couldn't really remember what it was, but then I found it. 2011, Indiana knocked off number 1 Kentucky. Christian Watford hits a 3 down 2, and then the camera cuts to Tom Crean, the head coach at the time. He's just in total shock. His face is wide open as he goes to shake the opposing team's hand, and he's just like his eyes are wide open. And then Dick Evie with a great call is like, oh, unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Classic call. So that one was fun. They got on there quick. But I was surprised Indiana storms the court because I thought they'd be one of those, well, we're Indiana. We're a blue blood.
I don't get that. The fact that there were any Nebraska fans saying that for the football, I just think is ridiculous. The only people that are probably saying that, I understand if you're like older and you were there, like you were firmly there for all the national championships.
The narrative is whatever. Act like you've been there before. But for us,
no one.
We haven't.
Okay, not even the students. No one on this Nebraska football organization has been there.
Right.
Nobody.
I'd be very interested to see, like,
maybe you could say Matt Rule, kind of, whatever. He's not going to dictate whether people storm the field or not. Like, literally, no one in this Nebraska football organization has experienced actual winning.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it's like, act like you've been there before. People that are telling Nebraska to act like they've been there before for basketball, we've never been here before.
Yeah.
There's people that when like
I haven't seen that. You saw that?
When Nebraska was playing worse against, they weren't playing very well against Penn State. It's like, man, act like an NCAA tournament team. It's like
They've never won one.
Yeah, like they can't act like what they're not. I understand they are this year, but it's like, I don't know. If they want them to act that way, then you strap on you put a jersey on and you go play.
I don't think there's a field storming opportunity this season unless UCLA somehow is really good or Wisconsin's really good. Because I think Colorado's too early in the season where it wouldn't be. I don't know that it'll be a ranked matchup. Could be.
No,
or Colorado could be. Ranked,
I don't.
But I doubt it. I really doubt.
I don't think they'd storm the field. And if it would be, it'd be like a trickle onto the field.
Yeah, but you don't. You have if you get Ohio State or a Michigan, like
Probably.
this last year, you'd have a hard time keeping some of those students off.
Yeah, it's just not. I'm just saying when in March Madness, when there's upsets in March Madness and people kind of storm the courts, it's like. I just couldn't even imagine. Like, do you know how much fun that would take out of it? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
College basketball is a thing of beauty, and to remove anything as it is currently constructed would be a crime, in my opinion. You can't change the tournament field. You can't change storming the court. That sounds weird every time I say it.
Storming the court.
And you can't take away from the atmosphere. So
no, it's not like college football that actually needs stuff that needs to be fixed, which they're working on.
It's almost a perfect sport.
Who is complaining, man, March Madness is just terrible. Like, I don't even remember.
No.
Like,
I've never heard that in my life.
No one, like, if somebody doesn't like it, it's because they just aren't interested in it. It's not because it's not good. They're just.
Oh man, I'm so excited. We're right around the corner. And for the first time, Nebraska could potentially be in that bracket.
Okay, one last thing before we go to break.
Mm-hmm.
So Nebraska has no quad 3 or quad 4 losses.
No.
How many teams though that are quad 3 and quad 4 have they actually played though? Because I've been seeing that used as an argument for Nebraska.
13. Now teams is a stretch because some of those games were like would have been a higher or lower based on if it was home or away. But they've got 13 quad 3 or quad 4 games right now and no losses.
Okay.
4-6 in quad 1, which could improve on Thursday with Ohio State because Ohio State,
which is still crazy,
up to 70 in the net.
That they're okay.
And then 3-2 in quad 2. But like you look at some of the teams above them in the net, they're 40 in the net right now, 41 in the net, which I think is ludicrous. Texas is above them, quad 3 loss. Villanova, a really good team, but 12 losses and 3 of them are quad 3. And then you go up to Michigan State. I'm sorry to hark on Michigan State here. 24 in the net, 3-7 in quad 1, 5-4 in quad 2, and then undefeated in quad 3 and quad 4. Virtually the same exact resume as Nebraska just by those quad games, but they're 17-11 and Nebraska beat them. And they're 20 spots higher in the net.
It's because Nebraska is on the name for the team. That's why.
And they've finally got some AP votes. I think if they win out, they'll be ranked going into the Big Ten tournament. I'm them. I kind of
think they'd be ranked.
I think if they win out, they'll be ranked. They would have.
Maybe. I guess if Ohio
they
State
would be 23-8. That would be tough not to rank the team.
If Ohio State is as big of a win as people are making it seem, then
well, I mean, it's not gonna be a huge win, but another road win and against a team that's surging, and then finish it off against 2. I think they're both quad 2 wins at this point. They're not quite quad 3.
How many of the quad 3 and 4 wins have been Big Ten teams? I don't even know how many quad 3.
I'd have to go in and look.
Yeah, I wonder if it's
not a ton.
I'm assuming it was mostly the non,
but it's mostly the home games against the really poor opponents. Because, like, if you're playing them at home, they have to be significantly better to be considered a quad 1 or quad 2. But I think Nebraska will be ranked if they win out their last 3.
I mean, the fact that just how dominant Nebraska's been at home, I think should just be enough to put them in the tournament.
I agree.
With that, we got to throw it to break. When we come back, we're going to get some NFL talk, free agency for running backs.
Running backs.
It's interesting. the running back market is always interesting in the NFL.
There's a lot of big names in it this year.
So with that, we're going to take the break, and we come back. We're going to touch on that right here on the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Chad with the Nutrition Authority, inviting you to stop in and check out the all-new complete post-workout recovery, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today and try a free sample, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
A wise nation honors and learns from its past. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. February is Black History Month, a celebration of the contributions that African Americans have made to American history in their struggles for freedom and equality. Knowledge is our strongest tool against injustice. Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Acres is bringing you the nation's largest indoor display of John Deere equipment and technology. Acres 2024 Ag and Turf Expo showcases everything from tillage and planting to application and harvest. We'll also offer the latest industry insights from ag professionals across the state. Join us at the Sandhills Global Event Center March 6th and 7th or Fauner Park March 21st and 22nd. Go to acres.com/expo24 for a complete schedule of speakers and activities.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Thursday, February 29th versus the Atlanta Vibe at Gas South Arena in Atlanta. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Fairway has fresh cut meats, seafood, cheese, wine and spirits, and a friendly staff that's always ready to help find what you need. Stop by Fairway Meat Market today to plan your weekly meals. Located in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Are you searching for a helping hand in life? Look no further. Integrated Behavioral Health Services is your answer. They're your compassionate, trusted partners committed to guiding you from challenges to triumphs. Their licensed professionals offer personalized therapy for individuals, couples, and families. At IBHS, the focus is you. Experience a life-changing transformation in an environment tailored to your unique needs. Visit ibhealthservices.com today and take that first step towards a brighter future. Discover the power of healing with Integrated Behavioral Health Services. You're not alone. Let them walk this journey with you.
Old School with DP and J.
Do you think it's too early to talk about Patrick Mahomes as the greatest of all time? You know, to be honest with you, I think he might be on ahead of the pace. It was definitely on pace, maybe ahead of the pace. I think right now everything that he does is going to get overblown, and I think people so quickly forgot the 20-year run of the Patriots. Not 5-6 years, 20-year run of Tom Brady and the Patriots.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we have some really big savings for you right now. Our new crossover sale is underway. New Terrains, Equinoxes, and Trailblazers starting at $23,290. That's right, $23,290. Also, we've continued our huge Sierra and Silverado truck sale with over $10,000 off new pickups. You heard right, over $10,000 off list. Koppel truly has a small town feel with big city deals. We're right down 144th Street or at KoppelCars.com. Stock numbers G260980 and C119824.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Ben and Joseph still here with you on this windy Tuesday night.
Very windy. Windy city, some might say.
Not Chicago, though. This is Lincoln, Nebraska. So, this segment, NFL, specifically the running back market. It's so fascinating.
It's a weird offseason.
It really has been. It's honestly been a quiet offseason, in my opinion.
So far, I think it'll begin to heat up once we. I think the quarterback market is very domino driven with Justin Fields and Kirk Cousins. That's kind of, I think we're going to wait to see what happens with those two. And if, depending on where they go, then we'll start to see other pieces file in. But no one's going to go out and get a different guy if there still is a chance at one of those two, in my opinion.
Okay, guys, is this really where we're at? We're letting the quarterback market be decided by Justin Fields and Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry.
Those are the big names. This cycle.
Those are the quote unquote big names.
Because you're not letting one of your big stars. I mean, I'm assuming that Tua is not going to actually make it to free agency. Herbert didn't.
No, he probably won't.
Mahomes didn't. Like, you don't let your Burrow didn't. You don't let your big name quarterbacks hit the free agency market. So
sometimes you don't have a choice, though. Like Watson and the Texans. Although that was a very weird situation.
That was just a totally different situation.
But until all the allegations.
Right. And then
before that, he was forcing his way out.
Right. But this, I mean, it's very rare where you get a top name guy just hitting regular, flat out free agency. His contract's up and he wants to move on to a different team. It's usually, I got a year left. I'm not going to re-sign, so trade me while you can still get something. Or let's re-sign 2 years before my deal's even up so that we can reset the market and not worry about it 2 years down the line.
But even then, that's the quarterback position. That's the most important position in football. So obviously teams are going to prioritize that.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the running back position, which some people are viewing as the least valuable position or one of the least valuable positions in football, which I feel like it's being taken a little bit too far, in my opinion.
Okay. I think there is kind of just a bandwagon to hop on and hate running backs, but I think there's a reason why you don't pay them, which I'll get into in a little bit.
No, I understand. Okay. But if you were the Giants, okay, I'm being very specific here. Why did you pay Daniel Jones and not Saquon?
That's a Giants issue. Because if you're, I wouldn't pay Daniel Jones if I was the GM and I have zero qualifications. So I don't know where that came from.
It was like he had one okay season and they just gave him the bag.
Right. Which makes no sense. But I don't think because you made a bad decision with Daniel Jones, who's a middling at best quarterback, you need to make the same mistake with Saquon Barkley, who in 2 or 3 years could be completely irrelevant and out of the league. And that's just the reality of being a running back in the league nowadays.
If Saquon Barkley is irrelevant in 2 to 3 years.
Okay. Let's go back and look at some of the guys that got the top paid cycle of the 2019-2020 season.
Let's do it.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Okay.
Patriots legend now.
Patriots.
Le'Veon Bell to the Jets.
That was okay. He held out. That's a different situation though. Okay. He held out and didn't play for like a year, and that just kind of ruined his career.
We look at the running backs of just a few years ago. Todd Gurley was number 3.
That injuries derailed his career.
And David Johnson was number 4. All 4 of those guys would be like, I would love to have any of those guys on my team, especially my fantasy team. But the reality of the situation with the running back market is there's going to be the next guy up very soon. For me, Christian McCaffrey is the only running back in the league I would be willing as a GM, if I was potentially a GM, to offload the bag for, because he does so much for that offense.
But Saquon is the same thing. He's the same thing. He is the same caliber of talent. He has been in a Giants offense with nothing. They gave the bag to their quarterback. They have no wide receivers. They have no offensive line, really. It was a little improved this year.
I don't trust that he's going to stay healthy over the course of his career.
We're having the same conversations with Christian McCaffrey.
But Christian McCaffrey is so much of a game changer in the passing game that Saquon Barkley's just not. Christian McCaffrey could never run the ball between the tackles a day in his life and still be a dynamic threat. I don't think Saquon Barkley has that same dynamic ability.
He's a playmaker.
So is Derrick Henry. I personally, if I'm a team, I don't want to pay $13 million for a running back.
I get that.
So as the Dolphins, you could use a big star running back.
Yes.
And you would want to go out and get a Saquon or Derrick Henry.
Do you know how much better our team would be if we did that? But, okay, this is my argument, though. Okay, if you're a team like the Chiefs and you have a really good quarterback that you're paying, obviously you're not going to have the money to pay for a running back. But if you're a team like the Giants or the Titans that does not have a quarterback you're giving money to, why are you not paying the running back? Where is this money going?
I mean, they are, though. That's the problem. They paid Ryan Tannehill and Daniel Jones the bag.
See, like teams probably like this. Like I understand quarterback is more important than running back, but it's like teams take it so far that they're paying middling quarterbacks instead of their elite star-studded running backs. That's what I don't understand. These are the best running backs in the league, and you're paying Daniel Jones and Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, so let's look at Dalvin Cook because the Vikings chose not to bring him back last season. He goes from 4 straight 1,000-yard years and then nothing this season, and they got essentially the same production out of Madison and Ty Chandler.
Okay. Now, Madison was not good this year.
But they got the same amount of yards out of him over the course of the season.
There's a difference between yards and efficiency.
You can't, okay, if they had Kirk Cousins this year, they would have been better than they were last year. That's my take. If they had Kirk Cousins for the whole season, regardless of who they had at running back, they would have been better this season.
Okay.
With Jordan Addison in there, adding that dynamic ability alongside, obviously injuries killed their season, and you never want to have Josh Dobbs being your savior. I still think Dalvin Cook was a great, had a great career in Minnesota, but you just can't justify paying a guy that the literal next season just signs with the Ravens to try to get a chance at a ring. Like the fall off in one calendar year. And I'm not saying Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry are going to have that same issue, because I think both of them, they've shown it over a very large portion of their career. Personally, as my team, I am not paying that amount of money to a running back. Now, if I'm not paying a quarterback, potentially, but you're not winning a Super Bowl if you don't have a dynamic quarterback. That's just a matter of fact.
Okay, so then you just throw in the towel. You just have your team talentless and you leave the fans nothing to be hopeful for.
If you look at the base salary of the last 15 running backs to win a Super Bowl,
I understand.
There's nothing there. You get a guy like Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round who does almost as much for that team as some of these big name running backs at a high level and wins 2 Super Bowls. Here's my whole thing. And I know you haven't had a quote unquote elite running back in a while over in Miami, but in LA, we've had Austin Eckler, who fantasy has turned people's brains to mush on Austin Eckler.
It has.
Because he can score touchdowns. He can't run the ball.
He's not an elite.
Which is the job of a running back, to run the ball between the tackles. The Chargers have had no running game over the past 2 seasons. Nothing.
Yeah.
there is literally no point in running the ball because you're going to get 1.2 yards per carry.
Can we go back to the Dalvin Cook thing though?
Let's go back.
Because where in this conversation did Dalvin Cook's name get brought up with guys like Derrick Henry and Saquon? Dalvin Cook was not those guys, especially in the tail end of his career in Minnesota. He was not an elite running back anymore. That's why they wasn't even a really debate.
But he had elite production.
Okay, this was an offense that loved to run the ball.
I think running back is so based on what you have around you. You can run all the ball all you want with Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. Didn't work for him this season. Didn't work out for the Titans or the Giants this season.
There's more issues there.
There's a lot more issues there, but there's no reason to bring them back if you're rebuilding. There's no reason to pay Derrick Henry. That's a mutual parting of ways. And Saquon Barkley is still the favorite to end up back in New York.
I understand that. But then why does no other teams want to pay a running back when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal and you're a team that's trying to make a push? That's what I don't get.
Because if he gets hurt, you're $11 million in the hole. I think that would be my concern. The Chargers, there's been a lot of buzz about us bringing in a Josh Jacobs or a Saquon Barkley, which is exciting when I see the jersey edits. It's like, that would be kind of cool, a big name running back. But then I'm like, okay, given the Chargers injury history, one of those guys is not playing the full season. And then you're back at square one with when you're already in cap, you're in a mess with cap. You're bringing in a running back that you could find in the 7th round. Like, Austin Eckler's whole argument about why he should get paid is completely irrelevant because he was undrafted. They went out and found him undrafted and used him for 5 years at a high level. So why would we pay him? Why would you ever pay him when you could just go get the next guy out of a tiny school in Colorado undrafted?
Because you might not get the next guy.
Well, it's hard to get much worse than Austin Eckler between the tackles. That's
wow.
He's really bad and really slow and really small.
Okay, so
and
I
don't want him on the
understand
team
that
anymore.
it's like, man, we found this guy before. It's like we're just immediately gonna find him again. Like the Dolphins, the last running back that they found that was a gem. I mean, you could say A-Chain is kind of going to be a gem for Nebraska. For the Dolphins. He's still got a little ways to go for that. He might break out this year. Never know. I hope. But like the last running back that they had that like was just completely blew up was Jay Ajayi. If I'm saying his name, yes. And and even then he wasn't amazing. It was just like
You haven't had an elite running back, but
it's just like people act like you can just find any team can find an elite running back, and that's not true. Not every team can find an elite running back.
I just think if I'm the Dolphins this offseason, I am not putting money into a running back when I could put money into my defense. You have one of the best passing games in the league, if not the best when everyone's healthy. And you have A-Chain who you found diamond in the rough.
See, with the Dolphins, it's interesting because I trust the Dolphins' run game with now A-Chain, and then they like Mostert. Like they have guys there that they like. Okay,
but they're up there on the odds with the Derrick Henry, the Josh Jacobs, and the Saquon Barkleys of the world.
They're not going to get them. But I'm saying like teams that are middling, like not middling, but like imagine if the Ravens had an elite running back.
The Ravens is the one where I'm like, it wouldn't hurt because you have such a dynamic offense without an elite running back anyway. And you have a great defense. So it's like that could be the extra step that takes it over the hump.
But then it's like, would they have J.K. Dobbins? He keeps getting hurt.
Derrick Henry's been injury prone. Saquon Barkley's been injury prone. Derrick Henry is favored to go to the Ravens last I checked. And it's pretty heavily favored. So
he should go to the Ravens.
That's where it's looking like. I would be willing to bet he does not reproduce his Tennessee career in Baltimore.
That's not.
But he's going to demand the money. He's going to get paid like he will.
I doubt it.
I just think running backs get paid for what they've done in the past, and quarterbacks get paid for what they'll do in the future. Sometimes it doesn't work out with like a Daniel Jones or Ryan Tannehill, but sometimes it does, where you pay Patrick Mahomes way ahead of the cycle, and you're getting him basically for free by 10 years now down the road. Whereas you pay a Le'Veon Bell or you pay an Austin Eckler, like someone probably is this season, for what they've done in the past, within 2 years, they're washed. So I'm not a big running back guy. I think specifically for my team, Jim Harbaugh can find any running back from who knows where and develop them into a very talented back. And the dual backfield is just the way to go, in my opinion. But I also wouldn't hate it if a Saquon Barkley with Justin Herbert would be awesome. I can't lie.
It's just like a running back is what puts a team is something that could put the team over the top. Like, what's more likely to put a team over the top? An elite running back on a team, or an elite corner? Like,
I mean, in the AFC West, I'd take an elite corner over an elite running back, in my opinion. You got to have someone to guard those teams.
Even then, like, the best cornerbacks in the league still get burned by the best wide receivers in the league.
I just don't think it's the best use of resources given how high the market is. Now, if you're a team like the Cowboys, who's like, well, we kind of need to figure something out, and something's not working. The defense has been pretty solid. Fell off at the end of the year. Dak Prescott's been pretty solid, but kind of, we don't trust him in the playoffs. Maybe an elite running back will help out.
It would.
The Texans have no one on cap roll, so that's a situation where I could be like...
That's what I'm saying. Teams that have a rookie quarterback on their roster that are trying to compete, why not? Where are you spending all this money? Because you want to know what would really help a young quarterback is if you have a really good run game. You want to know what helps a really good run game is a really good running back. Now, I get it if you would rather spend into the offensive line.
That's what I would do.
Then actually do that, though. There's teams that say they're going to do that, then they just they go and spend money on these middling offensive linemen that just don't do anything for the team. Like, that's what the Dolphins like. Man, we're gonna get veteran offensive linemen, and they're gonna do better than what a running back would do, and then they just flop because the Dolphins don't know how to evaluate offensive linemen, and it's just so frustrating because all the Dolphins have needed, if they just had an elite running back, Dolphins would be really good. Now, in their situation right now, they don't have the money. They don't have the resources to really go get a running back. They can if they wanted to, but it wouldn't be worth it because they have talent. But that's very specific to the Dolphins. Teams like the Ravens, teams like the Texans, teams like Cowboys. Like, I just think these are teams that should be going and trying to get.
Do you think the Cowboys and Texans are Super Bowl contenders, though?
If you give them an elite running back, it really betters their odds. And even if you don't, because only one team can win a Super Bowl. This is the thing. It's like, oh man, we're not going to win a Super Bowl. Well, let's not even try. Like that. You have to try. You have to shoot. Nobody thought the Lions were going to be a Super Bowl contender this year, really.
I mean, yeah, but look what they've done with their running back situation. They have two guys who they're not paying big money, and it works to a T. Like, getting a younger guy and just like, the odds of them re-signing Jahmyr Gibbs are probably pretty low given what they've done in the past. But they have 3 years to deal with that.
But the Lions have the best offensive line in the league. Not every team has that luxury where they can plug in any running back and
they've invested in the offensive line.
But not every team can evaluate for an offensive line. Do you know how easy it is to evaluate a running back? Oh, there's a good running back.
So if Saquon Barkley goes to the Texans, and
that'd be awesome.
They don't win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years.
That's not a bust. Still makes them one of the most fun teams in the league.
Makes them fun, but if they could invest in their defense or in a wide receiver or an offensive lineman, that's what I would do.
Then again, your team structure changes so much in 2 to 3 years.
It does. Like, the way the running back depends on the situation.
The way that running backs need to be paid is there needs to be a lot of guaranteed money up front. Like the first 2 years, and it's like after that, it needs to be less guaranteed.
I don't know. I think I'm just jaded by Austin Eckler, and I don't want a fantasy great quarterback that people on TikTok are like, running back. Running back is so good because he scores 2 touchdowns a game. It's like, yeah, but he had 18 rushing yards and averaged 1.2 yards per carry. That's not taking any of the burden off Justin Herbert. Now, a Josh Jacobs or Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley could certainly do that. I think if I'm the Ravens, I go out and get one. I think if I'm the Texans, I go out and try to get one. And I think if I'm the Cowboys. But like the Eagles are high up on these odds for all these running backs. If I'm the Eagles, you can't put more money into a running back when you've got success from any guy out there.
That's what I'm saying. It's specific to teams because they have a good offensive line. Like, you either need a good offensive line or you need a good running back. If you don't have either, you're not going to compete.
Okay. I would say the Eagles have a better odds to win the Super Bowl than the Texans or the Cowboys, though. That's in my opinion.
True, but there's other things that are more necessary to improve that team than a running back. Like it's
for sure.
Like the only reason, like the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, there's no need for them to have to go and get a.
They've won 3 Super Bowls.
He doesn't need more help, like from the running back. He
big name running back.
He needs help from wide receivers. Like it's just specific teams.
Does he? I don't know if he does.
I guess maybe not. But it's just like there's teams that it's like it just doesn't make. It's like the fact that people are saying there's no market for the running back position. It just is weird to me because there's teams that if they had an elite running back, they'd actually be one of the best teams in the league.
We'll see. Time will tell. We will see once Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry is in the New Jersey.
Like if Saquon Barkley was on the Cowboys, they would actually be one of the best teams in the league.
We say that, but
no, they would. I don't care. They would.
I think they'd still win one playoff game max. Some things never change.
That is true. I mean, I don't like the Cowboys, so I hope, but I'm saying they would actually be good if they had Saquon. But with that, we have to throw it to break. We went pretty long. When we come back, we're going to get a short segment to wrap up things right here on the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
CBS Signs and Omaha Neon reminds our drivers, when you take to our roads during the spring season, drive with the 3 C's of safety: caution, courtesy, and common sense. When a car hits a car, it's an accident. But when a car hits a child, it's a tragedy. Safe driving is every driver's responsibility. CBS Signs and Omaha Neon are 2 quality companies in one. For non-neon signage, call Lincoln at 402-466-7446. For neon signage, call 402-341-6077. CBS Signs and Omaha Neon care about the safety of both communities.
Hog Wild's giant stuffed baked potatoes are anything but basic and really hit the spot when you're craving a little comfort food. Nothing is more satisfying than a Hog Wild baked potato loaded with butter, sour cream, cheddar cheese, bacon bits, and chives. Add your choice of a Hog Wild house-smoked meat like pulled pork, chicken, or brisket for a little extra. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
When it comes to joining the Nebraska Army National Guard, you've heard it all before. College, healthcare, signing bonus. But joining is so much more than that. It's setting yourself up for a new and better chapter of your life. I'm Staff Sergeant Paul White, and because of the Nebraska Army National Guard, I'm in control of my career. And when the workday ends, I get to come home to my family. Write your next chapter by joining the Nebraska Army National Guard. For more information, schedule a meeting with me, Staff Sergeant Paul White at nationalguard.com.
In a world where quality tools make the dream work, let Sunbelt Rentals be your unseen team member. Shine bright with our top-notch equipment, dependable for any project size. Witness the difference with tool rental in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's more than just a tool, it's your companion for the perfect job. With Sunbelt Rentals, you're never alone in your project journey. Brighter tasks, better results. Sunbelt Rentals, tools that empower you.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
There are some things that happen every day. In the morning, my paper gets delivered. Thank you. Around noon, my neighbor waters his flowers wearing a bathrobe and hip waders. Hello, Mr. Willis.
Where's my paper?
After dinner, the lady up the street walks her 14 poodles. And just before the 10 o'clock news, the Nebraska lottery winning numbers are drawn for their daily games. Nebraska Pick 3, 2x2, and My Day. With Nebraska Pick 3, you choose your bet type. In 2x2, there's a $22,000 top prize. And with My Day, you choose a 6-digit date. They're all just $1 to play, with drawings every day. Oh, excuse me. Hi, Mr. Willis.
I'm still looking for my paper.
Guess which part of the day is my favorite?
Nebraska Pick 3, 2x2, and My Day top prize odds vary by game.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and 93.7 theticketfm.com.
Yep.
We're back. One last segment. We went long on our NFL talk. We got a little carried away. So
I'm passionate.
Very passionate, Ben. But just to wrap things up, I wanted to highlight Nebraska wrestling. Final dual rankings came out today. Number 3 in the country, just behind Iowa and Penn State, the only two teams that bested them this season. But the Huskers gave Penn State the toughest duel they had faced all season. Yeah. 18 points was the closest anyone else got. Huskers only lost by 8. So there is serious national title potential here going into the Big Tens, which will be in 2 weeks. That'll be really fun to watch and see how they do there to get a preparation of what we might see in Kansas City at Nationals. Ridge Lovett was the entire season number 1. Undefeated, lost to Arizona State's Kyle Parko in the final duel of the season. So I think that's going to motivate him. I think he is going to come into Big Tens on a tear. And that's kind of your like hope of this is the guy that's going to win it for us, win the national championship. And then a couple other guys, Hardy and Pinto, are going to be those guys to make some noise and make a run at the finals. Peyton Robb's an unknown at this point. Incredible wrestler, just had a disappointing season overall. Dropped down to number 12 in the rankings, I believe, at this point. But they got 6 top 10 wrestlers after the final duel rankings. And Jacob Van D at 133 rhymes. Massive surprise this season. Started the season ranked up in the higher 40s at number 13 right now. Had a huge win a couple months ago against Iowa's number 7, Brody Teske, and he has been on the up ever since. So that's a guy that could make some noise in the earlier rounds. But I'm excited for this upcoming wrestling Big Ten tournament. And I think Nebraska has their best chance in a few years to actually make some national noise. It's been Penn State, Iowa, and then Michigan won the Big Tens 2 years ago. And they haven't performed the best at that national level or that regional level at the Big Tens. They've been very good in duels outside of Penn State and Iowa. Those are the 2 humps you gotta get over.
Yeah.
I think this is the season to do it. They wrestled Penn State very tough. And Iowa, although they lost pretty handedly, there were a couple bouts in there where it was like, you get a rematch, you might have a chance. So I'm excited to see what Nebraska wrestling is going to do down the stretch here. Beat Arizona State, who's a very, very solid team, very handily last week. So
yeah,
we good stuff.
I think wrestling it has a chance to be as exciting as soccer was for Nebraska.
Oh yeah,
like easily, probably, maybe even more exciting because there's actually buzz that this team could be in the hunt for national championship. For soccer, it was kind of seemed as it was a dream, but it actually almost came in reality. Yeah. So I think it'll be super cool. It's such a niche. If you go to wrestling, I love it. It's a really cool atmosphere. It's not like volleyball where you have a full Devaney, but
it gets pretty loud.
It gets pretty loud and it gets pretty rowdy. But with that, we got to wrap up the show because we're 2 minutes late.
Come on, we gotta be better than that.
Time flies when you're having fun, Joseph.
Yes, sir.
With that, thank you for listening to the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. We'll be right back here tomorrow, same time, 11 to 12 at night. Me and Anthony will be here, and we're out of here.
Yeah.
Peace.
In a world where quality tools make the dream work, let Sunbelt Rentals be your unseen team member. Shine bright with our top-notch equipment dependable for any project size. Witness the difference with tool rental in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's more than just a tool, it's your companion for the perfect job. With Sunbelt Rentals, you're never alone in your project journey. Brighter tasks, better results. Sunbelt Rentals, tools that empower you.
Are you in the market for a new garage door or need to repair your old one? It's wintertime, and that means snow, wind, and freezing temperatures, all things that can cause sticky locks and damage to your garage door. If you're experiencing any issues with your commercial or residential garage door during the winter months, call Cameron Hall and his team at Doors Plus. Don't be trapped outside in the cold because of a poorly maintained garage door. Call Doors Plus today at 402